Wow. Timing is 11:11. What amazing timing that is. I'll leave that right there for you. Wonderful. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, as we step into a new era of ENYELAH, all those in ENYELAH need to know what's going on. So, first we're going to start in with Into the Deep, which is this deck. So you're going to see exactly what each one of these is and how it is explained. So we're going to go through each one by one, and you're going to get to know what they are. So this is the Sun. The Sun is a card about shining from the depth of who you are. In the ENYELAH system, the Sun is here to share with you your shining self. And so the elements that are on the outside of this card are actually here to show you how you're shining. What are the things that you can get out of your shine so that your shine becomes even more potent and even more powerful? The most important thing I think that anybody needs to understand about their own shine is that it's got stuff with it. When you shine your most beautifulest and your most brightest, there's always something there that can continually be looked at to become more evolved, to become better within inside of yourself. So the things that you're going to look at with the Sun specifically is everything to do with how the Sun is really connected to your inner power, your inner expression. It has little to do with being the center of you, but it is the center of one aspect of yourself. So as the Sun is the center of the solar system, is the same way that the Sun is also only one galaxy out of the entirety of your universe. So in an ENYELAH system, you are your own entire universe, because ENYELAH holds the multiverses inside of her. So you are your own universe. So you're no longer just a world. You're no longer just something that is what you can see around you. It's no longer just the things that you have learned about life. It's no longer the things that you have gathered about relation. And that's why this is called ENYELAH tea. It is spilling the tea on yourself. When you use these cards, it is a way for you to connect with the deeper parts of who you are in order for you to understand the things that are in the universe of you, the things that are in the many aspects of galaxy, which is like the black night sky. It isn't seen. The sun illuminates, but only once it comes through the portal of illumination, which means it has manifested into your human form. It has manifested into your physical reality. So understanding all of the deep dark night sky that is also you, which is the universal aspect of you, your entire spirit, not just the light. The darkness that is you is required to hold the space in between the light aspects. It's required to make sure everything is in the correct magnetism, in the correct gravitational forces, in the correct ways, in the correct order of things. This is very, very, very potent for you to understand that you are not just light being characters. You're not just what is inside of your mind, but you are so much more in so many different facets. So that is exactly why this deck is created. It is for you to deeply dive into all the aspects of self. Now, it has been inspired by tarot. However, it is not tarot because it is so much more than that. If you've read tarot your whole life, this will be easy. I have different symbols and I'm going to describe what those are. And you will get a deeper understanding of the things that are you, deep within yourself. When you pull these cards, it will give you a framework for you to understand what is going on within inside of you. So, one of the things that you will see is I have 5 suits instead of 4 suits. So the 5 suits are what you have traditionally known as swords, air, mind. Then there is the currency, which some people understand as a pentacle. But currency is so much more than just a pentacle. It is the growth. It is the ground that one gets to be a part of, so that you can transpire into the light. So each suit has both its light attributes and its dark attributes. Now, dark attributes are like the vastness of the universal plane. It is not a negative context. It is simply just space that holds things together. So now we have the swords or air. We have the fire or wands. We have the currency, the earth. We have water or the cups. And then we have the elemental, the gem, the masterer. This is very important. It is the finite. It is the whole part of mastering the other parts. And then the different characters and elements of oneself. So these are all the things that you will have been. So going back into and just doing a quick description, the Sun card. The Sun card has everything to do with how the light is coming through your human. It is your power that is very much solar plexus. That is very, very true. there is a lot of things that have come through you that shine differently than other people. You sparkle different than other people. You also grow things inside of your human that others don't grow. That's why you have different elements of growth. You have different types of things that are coming off of it, shining, radiating. Instead of just UV rays, maybe you have all the gamma and the X-rays in there as well, whatever that is for you. So now we will walk through the rest of these character cards and or element cards. These are parts of yourself that are states of being, so to say. This is the Fool. This is a card of one's own innocence, one ability to just go into the unknown and figure it out as one is. However, the Fool tends to put on masks in order to create things for themselves because they don't know. So they try a framework and they see how it works, and it either works or it doesn't. They take what works and they leave what doesn't. Part of this putting on these masks and figuring out what portion, what thing works for you, is you can damage yourself extremely hugely in the process because you're trying on something that has been pre-done, whether you've pre-done it in your mind or somebody else has created this for you. And you've decided to become this character. You've decided to become this element of your own existence, but you don't know all of the things that are coming with it. You've just decided, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, so to say. So you put that one on. Understanding your own budgeting, understanding how to deal with banks, understanding all these other things are things that will come with it. This is the Fool's journey. I have an unknown, I want to go there, so I do it, and I put on that specific mask. All right, the next card here is the Universe. So this is the world on the inside, and then all of the astrological symbols. And the astrological symbols have many different worlds in the universe. So you are your own universe in ENYELAH. And when you pull the Universe card, this is the entire encapsulation of yourself. The many different places that you live within inside of yourself, whether you are living in one specific suit or you're living within a specific geological place. The different worlds are where you have inhabited yourself, and the universe is the encapsulation of these. So maybe one is your business. Your business is, your baby for some of you, and then some of you also live in other people, which is not acceptable in ENYELAH system to create that oneness with someone. But sometimes you do live within them and through them, which once again, it might not be something that is allowed, but it's something that you've done for many periods of time. So how do you get it better and more refined so that you're not living through these people, you're not living because of them, you're not living because of your business, but you're coming through your business, your energy is coming through your business. And then maybe one of these is your human home. So then that would be more closer to the sun. So then you would attribute that towards the sun. And then maybe this one is an aspect of your Fool's journey, whatever the case may be. And so the next one is the Emperor. The Emperor. So now you see, this is not an actual character that resembles any type of being. It is because to be an emperor is a mastered state. It is an element of all the parts. It is like its own frequency. It is similar to the God frequency in some aspects because it has an overturning of all things, but it is below the God frequency in itself. Being a universe in its entirety is the closest to what I would say is a God frequency. Now, the Emperor is the one that is a system in itself. That's why it's not an actual being. The Emperor is a system that works through the different suits, the king of the different suits, and is the master blueprint of that. And so then the next one, see if I have it close. No, I'm not seeing it. Ah, there it is. So then the Empress in itself is transformation. That is always what the Empress will be. It is a birth and transformation of all things. So anything that the Emperor has and has created a blueprint for, the Empress comes in and changes it, evolves it, modifies it, creates something even more whole and complete and better for humanity based upon what was there. So she creates something completely new out of what was there, similar to taking mud and making it into clay that now can be formed into something else. So now it can be formed into something like this bowl. So this bowl now becomes a new framework for something. And then the Empress, when she changes things, she comes in and she remolds it and recreates it. Sometimes the Empress card is a card of utter destruction because she removes everything in order to make it new. So the more formed that it was, the more that it will hurt to have the Empress come in and remold what the Emperor has held. It's really important that you understand the relation between them and the value that each of them hold. Without the Empress being uplifted in her fullness, the Emperor will stay stuck and there will be no evolution. And well, us as human beings are continuously evolving how we come through our human, the Sun card, which is how our energy is coming through. We're designed to get better at everything. We're designed to get through any type of physical ailment. That's why our bodies have become the shape and way they are. That's why our biology changes and evolves. So our mind changes and evolves. That's why we have technology. It's why we create all of these things. And the Empress is required to upgrade all systems. She's the updater. She's your software update. And if you don't go in and learn how to remove and renew, then there will be, everything just ends up busting. Like, can you imagine the 2000s, the time when the internet was just born? If we only had that level of security, there's no way we would be able to have our banking and our currency systems on the internet. And it is because of the energy of the Empress that we can do that, because you have to bring everything back down and then recreate it. Bring it back down and recreate it. Now, the value of the Empress is how far and how deep she can go down into the deeper recesses. She has mastered many parts of herself, all of the different suits, and so many other aspects. The same with the Emperor. So now the Moon. Now this is an aspect of self that is self-reflection. You can see how it looks similar to the yin and yang symbol. It is because it is you understanding how to bring light to something in the dark without needing or requiring for it to fully manifest. That's actually where this particular deck, Into the Deep, the T is on yourself, is learning these skills. Now this is the Tower. This is physical elements in your life that have provided security. These are the security gates to the castle of your life. And some wonderful energy has come in because it is inside your sun. It is inside of your human being that has come through. And these things are coming and getting rid of these secure measures, which makes room for other characters to come through. And then once these have come down, then you can rebuild something, a better program, a better way of living, a higher standard. This is meant for you to always improve. Whenever this shows up, it's like, okay, something in my life is becoming a problem and it can't be there anymore because the energy is actually destroying the integral structure of it. So it's time for you to accept it, figure out how to do it, find the Empress within inside of you. How does she come in? Go to that depth you need to go to, and then rebuild something so that you're always having two towers, because there's only one tower that's been taken down here. The other one's still in integrity. So once this one goes down, you can rebuild it, and then this one can come down. So this is really important you understand this. The next one here is the multiverse. So this is what is governed by ENYELAH. This is all of the different universes, so many people's entire spectrum of both their dark aspects of self and their light aspects of self. This is every person's smallest portions to their soul, to everything magnetizing, coming through their human, all being governed by ENYELAH. So if you understand, this is ENYELAH Tea, this is Into the Deep, and this is the representation of her in this specific deck. She is both the dark, as you can see, this is fully dark here, and this one is lighter. There's aspects of it that's lighter coming through. So it's both sides. It's this infinite connection between all parts. And because she is governance of spiritual order, it brings everything up into the correct measures. This is really important. When you see this, the multiverse, it is you in relation to other people and the higher order of how all things must go into place. So if you're finding there's a lot of movement in your life, it's because your specific universe is having to take its whole self and make a little shiftings, because maybe there isn't something that you're trying to put into it. It's just not working because it doesn't work with the higher order of how all things are. Judgment. Judgment. The tree of knowledge is dead. Judgment is when you try and place a huge entity into something in order to glean from it, it will get rid of that entire thing. This is you needing to understand that you are a valuable entity yourself, and you have placed yourself in human form. And so in order for you to truly understand and know who you are, you need to look at the tree of life, of wisdom. It was shattered and destroyed in its fullness because it encapsulated a small portion of a big being like myself. This is no longer valid. The tree of life and death and knowledge and wisdom is dead. And I have come out of that. I have come out of those religions and those places. So when you look at another person, if you want to make them small, if you want to put them in their place, if you want to say they're only this, that, and the other thing, know that you cannot hold anybody in any place, because lifetime to lifetime, no matter how many people believe in something, the biggest power will always come through and remind you no matter what you do, they now know who you are. So when you judge someone, you are trying to remove their ability to be their most beautiful self and who they are. And so when you try and do that, they will leave whatever you've judged for you to now hold on to and take care of dead branches that are no longer of anything of value. And they will take their power somewhere else. So the next time you decide that you want to judge someone, be reminded that you will be removed. They will go where they flow. The Hermit card, what a wonderful card. So the Hermit card, as you can see here, these are like the elements of space and time. This is in between time right here. And there's a being. And this being is by itself in the vastness of space, through the lines of matter and understanding what's in between the matter. They're going in between themselves and the world. They are looking not just in between the lines, they're feeling in between the lines. They're feeling where time isn't. They're experiencing themselves in a way that allows them to know the power of their own universe. The moon is really required in the Hermit phase. The universe card is really required in the Hermit phase to really understand oneself. And so is, there's a specific card I'm thinking of that would be absolutely perfect here. Let's see if I can find it. No, not that one. Let me go and get this. Okay. Well, the next one that came out here, out of all this, it fell right out of the deck, so we'll go with this one next. So this one is security shift. So you remember how I showed you the tower before, and the tower was this physical element coming after this one. So this is happening. These physical aspects are happening, but we have to take these parts of our life and understand the same electricity that removes these things is also what builds and removes our cell signal, our actual plugs in the walls. So you have to understand and know that this specific energy, yes, you can get it in the wall, but it's also what destroys your physical life, but also builds your physical life. And then understanding this same powerful technology is what builds your life online and destroys your life online. So you have to see and know these physical elements and learning how to shift your security to these physical senses within inside of you and building this whole framework of your online security. and your online remodeling and your online evolution. Because it is just as important to see yourself as this electrical being online as much as it is this electrical being in your physical reality. So as things crumble in your physical reality, you deal with them. But when it comes to your online presence, you need to have that same mentality and understand that you have to rebuild these things. You have to move through these things. So as spiritual ends up physical, as physical ends up into the online space. It's very important that you understand it's all interconnected by these energetic frameworks, which is ENYELAH government herself. Understanding these things are governed in ways that might give you a little all right, into the next one. Temptation. So the temptation card is what replaces a card that many people have attributed to a character that is very but there is no who in ENYELAH. Everything is literally just a part of the equation. So when you get the temptation card, it is a temptation for you to be double-minded. So you can see the double-mindedness also refers to the spine. So the spine is where you have a lot of power. In your body, you have a certain element of power that goes through your spine. It's your nervous system. It's where everything actually creates your nerves and your feelings and your emotions. This whole electrical system is where your power is. It's what you give your mind. You pay your mind attention to certain things and certain people. So this is manifestation techniques and then all of the elements. So if you look at it a little closer as well, you can see there is projection coming in. So as you're going out with your manifestations, others can project their things and ideas onto your head. So are you thinking about yourself and your life? Or are you, like this one, being blinded by these projections that others have placed on you and giving your power to it? So it is extremely important that you understand the difference between being blinded, and if you look at this close enough, there's a heart here. So this is why ENYELAH system does not have the element of LOVE, because it is actually something that is used to project and blind you to use your power for themselves instead of you using your power for yourself. So it really creates a whole new system in when you take on other people's projections. Now, LOVE is not just romantic. It's other people's opinion, it's culture, it's tradition, it's family. So when you give your attention to their projections and their desires for you, you're literally feeding their system. You're feeding their way of life. What are they giving you in return for that? This is why it's so important that you understand your temptation has a lot to do with currency. In this specific card, it has to do with your mind and your human body's energy moving in that direction. So everything that comes from down deep within you to feed you, when you're thinking about someone else, it's literally going to build them and make them better. Whether it's positive or negative, it doesn't matter. You're giving them energy to make them better. That's why in an ENYELAH system, you give 1%. It is gratitude and thanks for creating a system that allows you to see the world completely differently, to see it from a creator's perspective, creating the vastness of the cosmos and understanding these deep, very powerful elements that we have within us and how to hold and maintain those things. You don't have to worry about it. She's just here. I'm just here as that structure that you can tune to, because I already have it all put together for you. The World card. So the world is your physical reality. This one is also There are different, basically like masks that can be placed upon your world. So you can see the world through any one of these. You can do it according to the birth chart, or you can do it according to your personality. You can do it however you desire to do it. A lot of people prefer birth charts because then they can actually believe in it. But really, whatever you believe in is truly your reality. When you align it with your birth chart and you align it with your personality, it just becomes more believable. It's just more understanding of how powerfully you're made. So the world has to do with your physical reality. So you'll also see the difference in this one from the multiverse card is there is no passcode on this one. This is your physical reality. When you look at the multiverse card, and the universe, where's the universe card here? The universe card has the passcode on it, which denotes your phone usage. Your universe has a lot to do with your soul, but also your phone usage. How are you expanding into the universe that is you? How is your online presence? That's all a part of where the world is specifically just your physical reality. Plain old physical reality, your actual human, the biology of it. This has to do with you eating. This has to do with you doing physical things. This has nothing really, well, you'll understand things will come from the soul and aspect of you, but this card specifically, the world, it's the light, it's everything that you can see and touch, and it's the tangible things. That's the world. The universe is what brings in all elements of yourself, which is the business that is you, which is the invisible part. It's the online version of you, the invisible part, but it's there. This, it's all the physical stuff. All right, temperance. Oh, temperance, temperance, temperance. Okay, temperance, temperance, temperance. So temperance card here. As you can see, I have the different elements here. These are the physical elements, temperance. And it has to do with your ability to find the spectrum of balance within these emotional states of being. It's finding the inner, the balance, not just the light or just the dark. It's the balance of both. The wheel. So, the wheel is a very interesting aspect because it is some parts of you that are in an ENYELAH system, your committed infinite. And how this comes out and spirals out, and your observers, which are the lines of order, which are also your elevation. So the wheel specifically is the pressure that you've been under in order for you to continue to move to the different elements. So when you up level in your life, as you move to a different observation of yourself, you move to another level of life, you move to another observation of yourself. You're the one that is building these different laws within the order of ENYELAH to continually build yourself. And these observations create a ring in here, which allows you to go from 2D to 3D. You become that continuous cycle because the infinite is pulling you all the way through. And then these observations create a whole circle. And once you finish that circle, then you move on to the next line and you make a new circle, and the next line you make a new circle. Creates this beautiful geometric pattern all the way through that is you, and it makes you separate from what's going on out here. So these are the pressures of the universe, the multiverse coming in and making sure you're all keeping yourself in a beautiful circular motion all the way through. It's important to be in a circular motion because if you want to be anything outside of ENYELAH, you could be making triangles, and people do that. So let them make triangles. Let them not understand creation. You're here, you're committed. You understand creation because you've asked for the laws of actual creation by ENYELAH. ENYELAH has made existence, which is deeper than anything. That's why you have come here, because you see that power is here. So this forms you correctly. It forms you well so that your physical human being is in wellness, because you're paying attention to all aspects and tempering the aspects of the soul and the physical, and you're bringing everything through. And so each one of these is you taking on one of the roles of the aspects of yourself to create more awareness, to create more tools for yourself. So the wheel is about you evolving and building. Silence. Silence is such a powerful tool. And then here is breaking the silence. So you'll understand when you pull this, if it's you being too silent about something and you need to break the silence and you need to come out and you need to get out of this circle and you need to make it known. Get out of the feelings of the ripples and come out into the air, speaking it out. You'll know by the surrounding cards. You'll need to either master it, you'll either need to add some fire to it, or whatever it is. Sometimes the silence is a place for great introspection, great understanding and knowing. And sometimes the silence is you not having enough courage to do what you need to do. So you need to understand what that'll be when you see that card. Root Nani. Root Nani. So this is the intuitive. This is the female aspect that reads cards. This is the female aspect that is so emotionally in tune. The empathetic aspect of self for self, because of self. She's the nanny of the roots. She looks at all of the depths of who you are within yourself. She's a character within you that you go in and you look at and say, wow, the last lifetime I went through some stuff. And she's the nanny. She comes in and she's like, hey, let's make sure we put you in a bath. Let's go and get you feeling better again. And you're sitting there like, I went through that. Oh my gosh. And this portion of yourself, when you're your root nanny, you go in and say, okay, I'm going to take a bubble bath. I'm going to allow that stuff to just wash off me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to solidify the most powerful part in me to create a better way of dealing with that whole situation. So she has to do with what most people understand as healing, but healing has got a really bad rep. So this is a nanny that is giving her most care and attention. She knows it is her job to make sure you're standing tall and confident and well-to-do, and she takes care of the roots. the roots of you, the stuff that's in the dark. It's the vast, epic blackness. Now, blackness is not a color. It is a void of light. It is the places in your subconscious. It is the places that are embedded in your soul. They are the elements that you've been created from. And she tends to them. It is a character that you are. Okay. The Hanged One. So the Hanged One, what does this look like to you? It is a huge whale. They call these, I believe they're called killer whales. It's an orca. Somebody is like, whew, confident, skilled, on point, clean up the oceans, top of the food chain. But it has been anchored. And so it did to others, it has been gotten done to itself. So now it is a carcass hanging in the meat locker. This is a time when your ego, when you were like, yes, I am the and you realize you're not actually capable of being that. It wasn't good for you. Because look where it got you. It's far better to be a whale. A huge whale. And or, if you like being an orca, and that's your job, then get better at doing it. Because you're a hanged carcass in this moment. This is not introspection card. This is you done screw some stuff up. Take a minute and look at yourself, because you don't have the freedoms that you used to have. So why did you think that you could do what you did? This is going to be the card that nobody wants to get now, because this is the card that is like, reality has hit. Like, you were a big bad whale in the ocean, taking down seals, doing stuff. You tried the dolphins. You weren't supposed to do the dolphins because there was a camera crew hanging out with the dolphins, and they were like, you're not taking out these guys. So they called up the fisheries. 30 minutes, come. This is where you are now. Certain things in life you don't go after. The orca is not supposed to go after the dolphins. When you understand life, this card is wake up. Recognize. Star. So as you can see, here's that spiral I was talking about from the wheel, and how you are creating both aspects of yourself. The dark, which is your depths, your roots, and the light. The star is created from the framework that's holding it together, that says this is the formula, and then because of that formula, there's a bunch of forces present that hold all of the things together to make the sun. Without the intense forces holding the intense amount of hydrogens and all of the different things, the sun wouldn't exist without the star. The star is the frameworks and the balance. It's what makes everything transpire and grow. That's why this also looks kind of like a flower. It's the framework and how everything unfolds. And this, the star, is built by the wheel. You have to have all of the different programs and understandings to be a star. Because without the framework and the direction and the balance, the balance at the very core, you can't have an entire grouping of hydrogen doing all of this stuff lit on fire without the framework that says it needs to be lit on fire. Without the framework that says you need nano amounts of space in between each thing. That's what it looks like in space, but inside of you, these are the programs that make you. I don't like when people touch me, so I make sure people understand you don't get to touch me. I'm just that sensitive. You don't get to touch me. I've chosen to be like this. I would prefer to be exactly wonderfully sensitive than allow people to touch me and I'm closed off to that part of me. Me specifically, ENYELAH, Browning, Taylor. Don't touch me. I don't like when people touch me. I don't even like having to go and get my nails done. It's a whole like drama session. When I find good people, I always maintain them as I can. But before that, it's just scary. We'll just put it that way. Because when people touch me, their mentality is like when people get really close. You know, when somebody don't respect you the same way, and coming like that, because my energy is so intense that it's like people forget what they have to do. So there's like this balance that I've had to learn how to have, and one of them is I don't let people touch me. And people who do touch me, I remind them, or people who are close to me, I remind them of who I am, because it is really important for those boundaries to be completely reminded of and solidified. Because, well, it's just like having $2 trillion in the bank account. Money's got to remind you that it's there. Everywhere you look, you have to remind yourself it's important to make good decisions with my money. It's the same thing. It's important to make good decisions with ENYELAH. Trust and believe. Roots. Roots. It's not roots. It's root. You are your own root. There are many of them, but it is one root. You're not anybody. Okay, hello, different phone. Glad we got a lot of them. All right, so back into the root. The root, one root is just one root. Remember that. You only have one root coming from your own pure spirit. That root is fed by ENYELAH on how to work and how to move so that you can create all the things you need to create. But this is you, this is your lifetimes, this is your pure spirit. You're rooted in ENYELAH soil. She's the one that tells you how to move and work. That's why you're here. Your roots are your memories. Your roots are how you create reality and how you remember it. It has a lot to do with memories, but roots are also how you believe your life to unfold and what you expect for yourself, which is direction, which is your expectations, the law and order. Magician. The magician. When you're working on the infinite field, which when you're committed to ENYELAH, you are always working on the infinite field. It is power to be in ENYELAH. The magician is creating the road for themselves. That is what a magician is meant to do. Now, if you're not in the fullness of this character, you will just be creating illusion. Without creating a way, the magician isn't complete. The magician is meant to create a way that you then embody, and it turns into a root. It turns into the frameworks of your star. The magician has a lot to do with the observation element in the wheel. The magician has a lot to do with things that are there that you don't want to be there and you just don't recognize them. The power of attention is really important in the magician. The magician has a lot to do with mastering time itself and knowing how to create things long-term in places that might not make sense. Magician is a mastery card for sure. It's still an element of who you are. The death card. The reason that I kept this as death is because everyone needs to remember and understand that it's really important to know that everything has a beginning and everything has an end. That is why you have the end of the white came here when it turned black. And when it turned white is the end of the black. They go hand in hand. It's the same with your human. Your human only truly gets to understand its value by the fact that it doesn't have value. Here, the black is not valuable. Here, the white is not valuable. But if you concentrate on the white, when you're black, all you can look at is how valuable the white is. But this is part of understanding life itself. When you start looking at death, you start really looking at how valuable life is. It's meant to show you how valuable the other is, so that you understand how valuable you are. What are the differences? What are the things that are the same? They can't coexist without each other. You have to have two different states because everything has to go in a system. In order for certain things to continue, some things must go away. To be infinite, this infinite, to truly be the king of infinite, you have to have many different lifetimes. You have to master things and become the best at something in a lifetime. And then the next lifetime, you become the best at it in a different color. You become the best at it in possibly a different gender, if that's what you've chosen for yourself. Me, I've solidified myself as a woman because that's a mastery in itself. The more you master something, the more that this is actually very valuable, because you only have a certain amount of time to create that thing. It's like you only have an hour to bake yourself a cake. Well, you're gonna make sure that you put the batter together in the 20 minutes so that the 40 minutes it can bake. You just get better at it. And if there's nothing in all of humanity that can bake a cake in 40 minutes, then you invent the thing called the oven that bakes a cake in 40 minutes. You learn how to do it. This is part of evolution. Death is required for people to want to evolve, to want to get better, for technology to even occur is because of this. We want to get better, more efficient every single lifetime. Is because of this that I had to do what I had to do and remember it and put it out there into the world before I went into the next life and had to master myself all over again. Because there's certain elements with certain age and certain things that you can do that create greater mastery. It's important to have this because it makes you realize how powerful life is. When you realize how powerful death is, you realize how powerful life is. So this is an important card for you to understand, not to shy away from, but to get close to understanding what this is like. As I am online and I watch people that are obsessed with this, I start to see, as much as they diminish certain parts, they find value in other parts if they're actually on the journey. The Chariot. This is willpower in its purest form. As you can see, the moon is driving this chariot. There's no person here. These are two wild horses. There's no reins here. They are just running through matter, running through space. They find ground wherever they need to. This is willpower in its purest form. Be very intentional with what you're willful over. When you're willful over your own, you will drive yourself forward, your spirit and your human. When they're in alignment, you have this movement. When your spirit and your human are going in different directions, you will continuously be unzipping the zipper of your own existence. You want to keep it up together and grow zipper longer. Move it longer. Powerful. You have to use your own internal reflections, your external reflections to move yourself, to understand both parts of yourself. Move yourself forwards. System. This is the system that you believe in. This is ENYELAH. Now, if you have had previous systems in your mind, this might come up. And you'll understand when you're reading the cards what it is, or what part is speaking to you. Are you perfectly in alignment with the system, or are you perpendicular to the system, which is something that's different? What level are you on? Are you at a place where you're steady, or are you trying to match things that are not meant to be matched? You're trying to pull things through dimensions that are not meant to be pulled through. Certain things manifest from nothing, but that there's not nothing here. There is space here. Even though you don't see dots doesn't mean there isn't anything, because this whole card wouldn't be here without the white. This whole system would not be here without ENYELAH. The whole energetics of it, without all of it, this card would not actually be on this camera. It would not actually be, none of this would be here. The system in which you believe. What part are you at? What's happening? Lovers. So you see the chain. There are two elements. They look like beings, but they're literally just pieces of chain. I kept this card in here because I want you to know, when you're falling in love with someone, you are becoming chained to them versus creating for yourself. You become a link in a bigger picture. You're just two people that are a part of a chain link. It's a system that solidifies you and uses you to pull and push. When you use love, you become infatuated with this person, blind to this person, and then you, because you're in the vibration of love, you solidify yourself in this chain that is usable by other forces, because you've chosen blindness. When you choose yourself, that is why you're in ENYELAH. You have to choose yourself. When you find yourself in this is when you're betraying yourself for feelings or emotions or likes or wants. This is impending doom for you. It's extreme blindness. And it looks pretty. These two beings are fantasy-like beings in a kiss. It's worse than drinking. This is the ultimate betrayal. Is blinding yourself to the fact that you're in a chained system and you both enter into it together. It's like both of you walking off of a cliff into the fire to be molded into a tool to be used for someone else. Remember what this actually means. Monitor to guide. So this is some person which is similar in essence to the root nanny, but this one is a monitor. This is a person that is like, has visual, they're watching you. They're a person maybe and in your community, they're a person maybe that, you know, in your job, they're watching what you're doing and they use energy and they use other people and other beings to feed them information so that they can come at you. This is a warrior. So they monitor you. So now this person in their lowest form is just monitoring for the sake of monitoring. When they use this monitoring, they turn into a guide. Because they can use all of these things in order to assist you to becoming a better human being. This is more on the physical side of things. But it uses energy still. It's a highly skilled, energetic person. Often leaders of communities. A person, when you see them, you're like, wow, they're psychic. Or you see them, you're like, how do they read me? Salespeople are very much this way. They monitor your feelings and emotions. Empaths, oh, this is definitely another empathic card. They can see what you're about. They can see what you're up to. And when they keep it to themselves, they're very much at war with you in essence. Or they just manipulate you. But when they turn into a guide, they formulate their direction. They formulate their structure. So you become a person that guides other people with all of your gifts and your abilities. You show them a way through something, whatever that way is, whether it's, you know, a way to better care for your finances, whether it's a way to better understand your own mental self, a specific industry. These people write blueprints and then they guide people through them because they're highly intuitive. Justice. Justice is performed here as the sands of time. Justice is why it is important to understand the energy. It's also important for you to understand that justice needs to be carried out. So in a specific situation, you need to carry out justice. It's time. This is a part that is very much, it's one way or the other way. And you have to be the one that chooses what you want for your life. What do you want for your life and to be known as? Are you the one that observes justice and walks away? Or are you the person that observes something that needs justice and says, I'm going to do something about it? You only ever do this for yourself. Justice is only ever carried out by you, for you, because of you, for the reason of your own growth. If you feel like justice is an important part of you guiding other people, then you're this because of this. But you don't do it on behalf of anybody else. Because if you decide that you're going to do it on behalf of someone else because you feel bad for them, you do this. So understand and know, justice is only ever made for you to carry out for yourself. by yourself. You don't carry anyone with you. If you're paying a lawyer to do something, then yes, you're paying a lawyer to do something. That's you carrying out with your own money justice. It is your reason for doing it is for your own internal self, because you specifically have gone through something. If it's for someone else, if it is for a child, if it is for anybody else, you won't win, because it's not for you. You're in the ENYELAH system. You can only create for yourself, by yourself, because of yourself, for the reason of yourself. If you are assisting a child in getting some sort of, you treat it like you're the lawyer. They have to hire you. They have to ask for what they want. You can't intervene. You have to be quiet. And when all they want is $5 from someone else because of something else, then that's all you get, even though you can get them 20,000, 60,000. You don't. Whatever they ask for, because whatever they ask for is what level they're at. So you can be a guide or you can be something else, but it still has to be a hired and asked for, and you have to understand that. Justice can only ever truly be had when you do it for yourself. If you think you're going to assist someone else, you've already betrayed yourself. Because if you're in it, you have a part that you've played. Strength. Strength comes from your backbone. It comes from you mastering your own internal feelings, emotions, everything. This happens at the best on the infinite plane. That affects the brain, and the brain affects everything. The energy, when it's done correctly. Strength is mastered in the ENYELAH system through the infinite field, and then through the rest of you. But to get to that place, you will have had to withstand a lot in order to get this straight. You notice how it's not the curve, because there is no actual curve in strength. It is very orderly. The reason that your back has a curve is to maintain its, because of all the stuff that's going on the inside. But you have to look at it as straight, because if you mentally look at it as, my back is straight, it will come into its straightest position. Straightest, most perfect position. If you think, oh, it's meant to be bent, then you start to do this. And then you go, my back is meant to be straight. You have to understand what strength is, what command is. That's where the strength card comes in. This goes hand in hand with willpower as well. And currency itself, ENYELAH. This is the currency that brings all the currencies together. Life, power, magnetism, all the laws, all the everything is built on ENYELAH. So if you were to see it from this perspective, you would see the 3D circles. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. There's 9 circles in here. Currency. Understanding this assists you in understanding currency itself. Okay. Okay, so now we'll go from currency into currency. Pentacles is what many have called it. Flowers is how I have it in my deck. So this is the first of flowers. So you have your growth, the temperance. So now you have the light world and you have the cosmic world, the darkness. So depending which way it is for you, if you have it this way, it's about you looking at your roots, your cosmic, your dark body. And here it's about your light body. This is the symbol. Here's your frequency. And yet another symbol. They all have meaning, which you'll intuitively pick up on. And your number. One of flowers. And two of flowers. Three of flowers. Four of flowers. Currency. Five of flowers. Five of currency. Six of flowers. Seven. Seven of flowers. Eight of flowers. Nine of flowers. And 100. 10, 100. It's the same thing. This is when I get it printed again, it's 100. All of my 10s are 100 because you can only ever have 1 to 9. And 0 is full and whole and complete, which is 100, whole and complete. It is the beginning of the next and the fullness of the previous. Then we have Princess, Page of Currency, and I'm sure we'll find it somewhere within here. And then the Queen of Currency. And the King of Currency. So the Queen and the King, again, are like the Emperor and the Empress. They do not have human form because they are so much more complex than human form. Okay, now moving into lanterns of fire. The first of fire, the first of lanterns, first of wands. First, there's your wand, your fire, your human element of self, your dark body, your spiritual cosmic element of self, the symbol of fire, frequency of fire, and another symbol. So all different dimensions. The first one. And 2 of lanterns, 2 of fire. And 3 of lanterns. The reason I put them in lanterns is because fire needs to be measured. It's really important that you measure fire. And you can turn it up or turn it down in a lantern. You can put more of it in a lantern. But it's important to be measured properly. Just like it can be measured in a plant when it's currency. Here is the 4 of lanterns, 4 of fire, 4 of wands. And 5. 5 of wands, fire. 5 of lanterns, 6 of lanterns. Seven of lanterns. 8 of lanterns. 9 of lanterns. And a 100 of lanterns. Then I have the page or princess of lanterns. And the knight of lanterns. I have the queen of fire lanterns. And I have the king of fire lanterns. And moving on to our swords air. The 1 of air, 1 of swords. Two of air. These are birds. They're all birds. So it's 1 of birds, 2 of birds. It's the mind. 3 of birds, swords, air. 4 of birds. Chatta chatta. Yeah, it's mind chatter within inside of yourself. Mind chatter. Come out into the physical, so that will determine here. So, right? So this is like a physical, this is happening in the physical realm. This is happening in the spiritual realm. So when you're dealing with your birds, your mind. 5. And 6 of birds. Seven of birds. 8 of birds. 9 of birds. And 10 of birds. And then page of mind, page of swords, knight of swords, queen of swords, King of Swords. Then we're doing gems next. This is our mastery. This is also the metal element in Chinese medicine, Chinese traditional medicine. This is the metal element. So if you're working with that and you're working with the cards, this will be that element for you. So this is gems. This is the first of gems. This is your prism. First of gems. And here my frequency is a whole, like how many notes this is. So this is not just one pure frequency. This is how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different notes or more, depending on how you look at it, are all happening at the same time. Like when you press on the piano, it's like, those are all happening just for this gem. So this is the mastery of the things and elements put together. And then this is like the specific element that is created of the parts. And again, this is the physical realm, cosmic realm. And this is the complexity. So it is not simple like these, which have a structure with a placement. This is a very complex structure. Same thing here. Gems is a complex structure. It requires pressure to be created. A gem is a mastery of many other elements put together. It is a very complex part of self. And then 2. Okay. 2 of gems. It's like a ring with the different gems put into it. They're being held in. Very, very complex image. 3 of gems. The value of a sphere. 4 of gems. It's the channeling, purity. The structure that is created to make purity. But yes, even in its purity, it's complex, right? 5 of gems. There's many things put together to create this song, which is the song that moves you. 6 of gems. It's the scent. It's the scent that comes from the song. It comes from the building of the mastery. This is the scent. This is what people feel. This is what people can smell, actually. But there's specific scents that come from specific frequencies. Like your body itself will actually emit a specific smell based upon your thoughts and emotions. That's where that one comes from. 7 of gems. This is building, repetition. You don't just have one, you understand how to build them. This is you learning how to build things. Once you've built one, now you understand how many you can have in a row and their structure. And then you need to move on and create another one, or whatever the case may be. And sometimes you need these, and then you need a different element coming in between. So this is learning. This is about building. This is about, you've got a system of building. You understand the element structure. And then this is learning how to put different structures together. So the 8 of gems is learning, you know, each one of these is like the 7. Each one of them is all put together. And then you can create something that's actually a piece of artwork. That's 8. Artwork, whether it be online, or artwork, whether it be in person, it's a sculpture. 9 is creating the decadence. It's creating the shine. It's creating the wow factor in your gems. The clarity. You've learned to use the best of the best. You don't just use any gem. You've learned how to use certain gems, and you only go after the absolute best. In mastery, you use the best materials. You use whatever pressure is required for them. They're the hardest stones. It's the most glamorous, in the sense that the frequency is glamorous. And it's difficult to figure out how to do this. But you've learned how to do it. And without the darkness, these don't shine. This would just be a white. So you see the difference. These are built. And yeah, they might shine and things go through them, but they're very much this way. Without understanding the darkness within inside of yourself, nothing shines. You have to have a very full balance of these two in order to have this. So this card might denote you need to be more into the roots of yourself and understand your roots and display your roots. This is the ultimate, you wear your emotions on your sleeve. You are who you are in its fullness, so that this can shine through as well. Because if you aren't yourself, you can't provide yourself any background, and you're literally just you're just another light being out there. There's nothing to you. This contrast is what is so valuable. And 10. You grow your own gems. You know how to do all of these different things. You have the formula. You're 100%. You've created an entire formula. So now you can take your 10 here and you can go and create more different structures of 7, so that you can learn how to create all the different structures together for 8. And then you find out which is the best one, so you can use the best one, which is 9. You can create your own now. This is mastery of all of the other ones, is you learn how to create your own. You don't need it from anyone else. Then the page, or the Princess of Jewels. You can create a whole everything. Oh, here's my Knight of Pentacles. Currency and flowers, yeah. This is a Queen of Gems. Frequency is just like beaming off. Very much learning how to warp and move things, create things. It's the most three-dimensional looking. Oh, the Knight. And here's the Knight of Gems. And the King of Gems. And here's your insert of the Knight of Flowers, the Knight of Pentacles, Knight of Currency. Alright, and we're going into water, cups. So this is umbrellas. One of umbrellas, one of cups. 2 of umbrellas, 2 of cups. You can either fill up your umbrella with water, or you can shed yourself from it. What do you need? 3 of umbrellas, 3 of water, 3 of cups. Four of cups, 4 of water, 4 of umbrellas. Wow, that's a whole fabulous thing. Okay, well, we'll figure it out. 5 of cups, 5 of umbrellas, 6 of umbrellas, 6 of cups, 7 of umbrellas, 7 of cups, 7 of water, 8 of cups, 8 of umbrellas, 8 of water, 9 of umbrellas, and 10 of umbrellas, 10 of water, princess of water, knight of water, queen of water, and king of water. So this is ENYELAH tea into the deep. This is the tea. This deck that I have created is called tea, ENYELAH tea. It's not tarot, it's tea. It's tea. Because it has many different attributes and a whole different system, you can still use your framework and understanding of tarot to start to read it if you want. However, it won't be utilizing the cards correctly. The cards are as I described them in their fullness, and you'll get much more out of them, understanding all the suits and how it can work with everyone's framework to come and understand one specific framework, which is ENYELAH tea. And this specific deck is ENYELAH tea into the deep. My name is ENYELAH Browning Taylor, and there is only one way to find me. It is enyelah.com. And from there, there's a lot of other websites. ENYELAH tea will be up as well.com. However, at the moment that I am posting this, the only place to actually buy this deck, this specific deck currently is my art deck. So I have printed and finished each one of these. They each have their own copyright inside of them, and how many decks. So this one has 0001. This is the first deck, so anybody who would buy would get 2 and above. I am only selling so many decks that are my art decks. I will have copy decks which will be printed by a mass printer, and so they won't have this texture. So if you can see, these have a specific texture on them. And the pieces that are not quite correct will get fixed in the next deck, so you'll have a more perfect deck. But these are all hand cut, hand done. These are my art decks, and so they are collector's items. You can also use them. They are also scented as well, so they have been scented. It is an entire art piece that I have created over the last many years. So this is ENYELAH Tea, Into the Deep.